Alright, we need to have a little talk about the Batman movie that just came out on HBO Max. Has been out for about 45 days. I have been listening to reviews of this film and seeing video after video after video on YouTube giving it praise and how wonderful it is. And I just want to say, in my opinion, that this movie is a big pile of steaming dog shit. That's my opinion, and I'm going to back it up. And I'm not just going to talk about the film itself, but we're going to talk about DC Comics as a whole and the state of the DC Comics movie universe, which is in shambles and always has been. But let's start with the Batman. Literally, let's start with Robert Pattinson as the Batman. Emo Batman, depressed little child of a man Batman, sulking around the Wayne Manor and spending most of his time in his Batsuit in his Batcave, just morbidly depressed at all times. This is not a good interpretation of Bruce Wayne in any capacity, because there's two sides to the Batman. There's the crusader who lurks in the shadows we've all come to love over the years, and then there's the playboy billionaire Bruce Wayne, who lives a lifestyle of fast cars and loose women and is an expert at running his multinational companies, keeping his operation well funded for decade after decade, ignoring the business of Wayne Tech and Wayne Enterprises is not something Bruce Wayne has ever done, and nor can he really do, because the funds can't dry up, because being the Batman, turns out, is quite an expensive adventure. But in this film, this rendition, we have a Batman or a Bruce Wayne that's completely detached psychologically from pretty much every damn thing going on around him. And the other thing we know about Batman is he is the world's greatest detective, and in this film we have a total idiot who never figures out shit. The only thing he ever does is he gets the riddles correct right away. He knows the riddles before the riddle even finishes the damn riddle, but doesn't really put it into action. And so it's kind of pointless knowing the answer if you don't get to the conclusion or get to the driving point of the riddle. The Riddler in this film was 10 steps ahead of Batman at all times, and we don't know how many people died as a result of Batman's ineptitude, Batman's inability to see the basic fucking things happening right in front of his face. There is a scene in this film where a bomb is getting ready to detonate right in front of his face. Now the entire audience knows it's going to detonate because there's a little red blinking light that is progressively blinking faster and faster. And so we know that this bomb is going to detonate. Everyone in the room knows. But Batman, no, this guy, he hasn't picked up on it. And the bomb actually explodes in his face. He had plenty of time to escape the room. He probably could have escaped the building. But no, he let the bomb explode right in his face. But don't worry, nothing happened as a result of this explosion except for a little minor ear ringing, which is just a slight inconvenience. Little disorientation. It isn't like the entire Gotham police force is going to surround him in a small, tiny room with 50 officers and no one's going to try to rip that mask right off his fucking face. That's not going to happen. And if they did, we all know Commissioner Gordon would hold all of them back at bay, because Commissioner Gordon just talks like the Batman as well. So we all talk with the Batman voice now. Whenever we hang around with Batman, we all talk like the Batman. And it is kind of annoying to see Commissioner Gordon taking on the Batman voice as he waddles around like it's a buddy cop movie, him and the Batman solving the crime together. This movie was annoying on so many levels, it was hard to enjoy. Sure, the cinematics were great. You could say the beautiful cinematography, the darkness of it all. And I'm okay with that. I'm actually okay with that. I'm not okay with the way the scenes in the film seem to have completely disconnected from themselves. There's a scene in particular I'm thinking of. A scene where Batman rushes with Catwoman back to her apartment to check on a girl, Annika, who's in danger of being kidnapped by the mob. They arrive and in fact, she was kidnapped. For the first few seconds of this scene, Catwoman is distraught. Oh, we gotta find her, it's a loss. And then, within a minute or two of this scene unfolding, the need to find Annika dies away slowly, and we get to a point where Batman is talking about her cats. And she is sipping on a little glass of maybe milk, I can't quite recall. But she's sipping on a drink, nonchalantly talking about her cats with the Batman. No one gives a flying fuck anymore about the missing girl, and we go about our day. This is the entire movie for me. I am totally disconnected from what the fuck is happening throughout the whole thing because I just don't give a shit. I don't give a shit about Alfred. This is the first movie that I didn't give a rat's fucking ass about Alfred. Didn't care. And I'm even talking about all of the movies through Tim Burton, Joel Schumacher, who fucking ruined the Batman franchise. Even his Alfred was likable. It isn't that I didn't like the actor that played Alfred. It's that I didn't give a shit about Alfred in this film because they didn't give us a reason to give a shit. All we had was a few little combative clips, verbally combative clips between him and the Batman early on in the film. And then at some point he gets blown up. Alfred I'm referring to. Well, of course the Batman got blown up too, but I'm referring to Alfred this time. And then there's the heartwarming moment where they're holding hands in the hospital, but nobody gives a shit because nobody cares about Alfred, okay? I don't give a shit how much bandage you have wrapped around his head. I didn't give a shit about Alfred. And now how much work do you have to put in as a director and as a writer to get the audience to not give two shits about Alfred being blown up? I mean, that takes some fucking skill. But you guys did it. Congratulations. And then let's talk about the Riddler. Now, the Riddler, some might say, is the best performance of the film, and he just really knocked it out of the park. And okay, I mean, sure, it was cool, I guess. I mean, they pulled this version of the Riddler, the serial killer version of the Riddler, out of some little side story, Batman Earth 1 stuff that, no, it's not canon. It's not major plot line, or what should I say? It's not the primary Batman storyline we're talking about here. This is just some little offshoot version of the Riddler. And this points to the biggest problem I have with this film, which I'm going to get to almost shortly, but not quite yet. Okay, I got a few more things I want to pull apart in this fucked up movie before I get to that part, okay? Then there's all these other scenes that just totally ruin it for me, okay? One, there's a scene where Batman is basically a peeping Tom. That's right. The same fucking shit they did to Superman in Man of Steel, where they made him. And I'm sorry. Whoa. I apologize for that. I misspoke. I meant Superman Returns. I apologize. Superman Returns. They make fucking Superman a peeping Tom, and in this film, they made Batman a fucking peeping Tom watching the Catwoman get undressed. Fucking bullshit. And it pisses me off that they would do that shit. And then they almost. Well, I'm going to say this. In this film, there is a scene where Batman is hanging from the rafters at the end of the movie by one hand, and I wouldn't even say it's a goon or a henchman because it's not. It's just some rando with a shotgun who was recruited by a website video, shows up and points a shotgun 3 inches from Batman's face and can literally blow his fucking face off. Okay? So Batman in that moment is going to have his face blown off by some nobody with a shotgun. Now, we all know as the audience, because the movie sucks, that we know Catwoman's going to spring down and save the day. We know this is very, very broadly and very loudly foreshadowed. And of course she does and saves the day, thank goodness. But guess what? Without Catwoman's interference, Batman's face gets blown off by a shotgun by some nobody. That's bullshit. I don't give a shit what year we're talking about of Batman. This happens to be year 2 we're talking about. In year 2, you know what never happened to Batman? He never got his fucking face blown off with a shotgun by a nobody. You know what also never happened to my recollection? I don't think Catwoman ever had to save him from a shotgun blast to the face by nobody with a shotgun. Because he's Batman. Do you understand? He's Batman. Even from year 2, he's Batman. Sure, he's a much badder asser Batman later on, but he's still Batman. And then there's all these other little subtle stupid ass scenes scattered throughout. There's a scene where Batman spray paints a giant diagram on the floor of the Wayne Mansion, and it's a, you know, you ever see those charts that people put on the walls where they put photos up and they put pins in them and then they take thread and they connect it and they want to show a map of how people connect to who and this and that and the other. That's what he did, but basically with spray paint all over the floor of Wayne Manor. Now this would fit a kid who's like, let's say, a 14 idiotic child of a man who's an emo who likes to go around tagging and shit and skateboard on the side. That all makes sense. And that's the kind of personality that wouldn't mind defacing the floor of a beautiful mansion. But we're talking about Bruce Wayne here. And the only reason I can see that he would do this, he spray paints this diagram all over the floor, and then he gets up and he walks over it as an overhead cam shot takes the shot of the whole scene. And wow, what great trailer material that is. So now we're just shooting fucking scenes for a trailer that make absolutely no sense and have no utility whatsoever. There's no utility in this. It's a complete waste of his time and energy. But that's okay. We're going to put it in there because we need to have a good trailer shot. What are some redeeming qualities of the Batman? Well, there are some things like the cinematography that has been talked about in countless videos on YouTube, so I'm not going to go into that. You can talk about the Penguin makeup, at which, you know, I'll be honest, I was one of those guys who had to go to Google afterwards and find out it was Colin Farrell who was in the Penguin makeup. I have no fucking clue. So in that regard, yay, congratulations. I only asked myself, were there any Italian kind of overweight guys you could have just gave the part to? Did we have to spend the money to put a guy in makeup for 4 hours a day? Did we have to spend that money, producer? And if I'm one of the people at the studios, DC Comics Studios, which I never will be because they're fucking morons, but if I were, I might ask the question, gosh, guys, wouldn't it be cheaper just to hire another actor? I mean, is Colin Farrell's voice that good? Really? I mean, I'm pretty sure that makeup's costing us a ton of fucking money here. A ton of fucking money. But that's okay. They're fucking morons at DC Comics and they're going to do some stupid ass shit. But look at this. They can make some cool videos on YouTube about how long it took to get into makeup and how awesome the makeup was and how awesome the makeup was for Colin Farrell to get into character and all this other bullshit. None of that matters. None of that matters. Some of the other redeeming qualities, man, I think I ran out. Of redeeming qualities. How long was that list? 2? 3? I can't remember. It was just such a short list. It's completely left my memory banks. Let's talk about the Batmobile. You got a whole bunch of people that are just fawning over the hot rod Batmobile, which I don't give a fucking rat's ass about. The Batmobile looked like a piece of shit to me. Didn't give a rat's ass about it. And then he sits there in the the very first debut of the Batmobile, and to me it looks like he stalled it out. I don't know. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. He just sat there in it though, kind of looking dumb. Don't know what that was all about. I saw another YouTube video, I can't remember who it was now because I watched quite a few, where he kind of went in on this whole scene and talked about how Penguin was all of a sudden a NASCAR driver and shit, so I won't touch on that because someone already did. But that was quite interesting, that scene. And it was just fucking more bullshit scenes made for the goddamn trailer. That's all it was. You can tell the scenes that are made for a trailer. I mean, they're just designed that way. And then, you know, back to the very first part of the movie, when a movie first starts and they're chasing this guy off the train because they're bullies and we gotta bully the Asian guy. Pandemic, right? And then we're gonna bully the Asian guy and then we're gonna look down the dark alleyway and we're gonna hear these heavy footsteps. Doom. 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 As doom approaches. Did Batman do that in the movies or in the comic books? Did he announce his arrival? Gosh, I kind of think no. I kind of think Batman more just was the shadows. It's like, he even says that. Like, that's one of his lines in the movie. Like, they think I'm in the shadows, but I am the shadows. You're the shadows with some heavy fucking footfall, let me tell you. And then there's another scene that is similar in nature. It's at the end of the movie, and he's walking down a pitch black, dark hallway. Now, this Batman does not have any known technology that allows him to see in the dark, unlike the Christopher Nolan Batman that did have a Batman X-ray or a Batman sonar type vision capability in his eyewear, in his mask built in, which was really cool. This Batman is too early on. He hasn't really developed all that tech, and they didn't show anything resembling that kind of tech in the film, and yet here he is walking down a pitch black hallway having full combat with a bunch of thugs and taking them out pretty quickly. Even more troubling is the fact that they unloaded several magazines of fully automatic weaponry right into his fucking chest and didn't fucking phase him, okay? So I don't understand what armor he's wearing or where he got it from, but it was fucking stupid. Then you have the detachable bat symbol at the end they show as a bladed weapon. Not exactly sure where they're going with that. Was that supposed to be an early rendition of a batarang, some sort of glaive device? I don't know what the fuck they were going for there. But basically he used it as a cleaving device at the end of the movie. One time it got used. It seems pretty pointless to have it there, but whatever. I'm nitpicking now, to be honest. I want to get now into the real reason why I hate the Batman. And I hate the Batman movie because it exists in the DC universe, and the DC universe has done nothing but disappoint me for so many years. Here you have Marvel Universe. They've given you the keys to the vault. They've given you the exact blueprint to follow to be successful in this genre. They've showed you exactly how you do it. You have to plan out a series of films for 10 to 20 years out. You have to plan it out intricately. You have to know exactly what you're doing, going from film to film to film, tying it all together, using those post-credit segments to lead into the next film and get people ready. It is a universe that is unified in Marvel, completely unified, telling one story through hundreds and hundreds of characters. They've given it to you, DC, but you're too fucking stupid to do it. And what do you do instead? You keep throwing these hodgepodge films together that may last 2 to 3 films at best, and then we're on to the next bullshit you're going to throw our way. None of it connected to the last, none of it having any sort of connection to anything done previously. And they all look like completely fucking different movies too. Have you ever noticed that? Look at the original Batman movie, Tim Burton's Batman. Look at Joel Schumacher, who did a pretty decent job of trying to blend in with what Tim Burton had done. But then when you get to Christopher Nolan, what happens? He creates a whole new look, a whole new feel, a more realistic, gritty, real-world approach to the Batman. And then what do we have? We have the Justice League, which even takes a grittier turn. And then we come back around to the Batman, which takes this more grungy look. And here's what they want us to believe, by the way, before I go on. They want us to believe that this is going to expand into something. This ain't going to expand into shit. This is going to be a tops of 3 movies in the Batman series and then a couple spin-off bullshit things on HBO Max. Who gives a fuck? You think they're going to follow this up with anything legitimate? You think there's going to be a Superman movie behind this, a Wonder Woman movie, a Flash movie, an Aquaman movie, a Cyborg movie behind this? It's all going to tie together into a new universe? No fucking way are they going to do it, because they're too fucking stupid to do it. The DC universe has so many characters that are just amazing, with such great depth of characters, great depth of stories. They're just asking to be used in an amazing way. They're just begging you, use us in an amazing way, and we're going to make you a ton of money. But what they won't do is they won't follow that formula. You got DC Comics asleep at the wheel again. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. They go from darkness to the comedy of the Shazam series. Oh, hey kids, how you doing? You want some Shazam toys? Back to the darkness of the Batman. They're claustrophobic. No, that's the wrong word. They're, what's that word where you're fucked up in the head and you got fucking multiple personalities? Whatever the fuck that is, that's what they are. They got split personality disorder. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. They're all over the goddamn place. If I was a shareholder in Disney, I'd be firing motherfuckers left and motherfucking right. It shouldn't matter who the directors are in the director's chair of these films. You should go from one film to the other. You can watch Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, all of them. You can watch every single movie, and you know what you feel like? You feel like you're in the same goddamn universe, because they did an amazing job of making sure every single film looks like the last. You always feel like you're in the Marvel universe when you watch a Marvel movie. Not DC. DC, they're fucking all over the goddamn place. Every new director wants to put his own little spin on things and change everything up and da-da-da-da-da. Listen, assholes, this is not about you as a director, okay? This is about the fan base and about the DC universe, the cinematic universe. And we want a fucking universe that is begging to be brought to life. Are you going to do it? Is anybody out there got the balls to fucking do it? Because if you do, you will be the greatest in the minds of all the fans if you can bring it all together. So step up out there. Where are you at? Where's all these directors and producers out there that got the balls to grab DC Universe and run with it? I thought it might have been Zack Snyder. I was wrong. They're done with Zack Snyder, apparently. Where the fuck is he? He's gone. See you later. Nice try, Zachy boy. You had a good run. You had a good run. But DC Comics is always going to fuck some shit up, and they did again. So, for all the fanboys out there that are out there loving on this movie, I just think you're fucking dead wrong. I think this movie is a bunch of bullshit. And I think it's not going to go anywhere, and I think it's a complete waste of my motherfucking 3 hours, and I want my money back. How about that? I want my money back. That's all I got to say. I know a lot of you are going to disagree with me on this. Bring it down in the comments section. I'll be down there. I'll be peeping you. I'll be seeing what you got to say. Defend this hunk of shit. I want to hear about it. I want someone to come into my comments and go ahead and defend this hunk of shit of a movie. I don't give a shit. Defend it. I stand by what I say. This movie sucks balls.